Hey everyone, Cole here, smiling as usual, though I do have a rant to share with you today. See, I'm one of those people that has a business that is structured in the way that the new world allows. I work primarily on the internet, and I have an assistant who's based in the Philippines, Gino. He's the best. And I have a rant today about the use of the phrase virtual assistant and some real world impacts that I believe this misnomer creates. So here's the thing. In the last 18 months, I have barely seen either of my brothers, for obvious reasons. But I don't think of them as my virtual brothers. They're not my virtual family. They're my actual family, as they always have been. It's just that now I only see them on Zoom. But if they were my virtual family, then that would create a permission implicit in the words for me to ignore them, or for me to not care about them or not think about them, because they're not real, they're virtual. And the fact that Gino lives in the Philippines doesn't make him any less human. And the fact that any virtual assistant lives in some other country or region, usually where there's some form of geo arbitrage in the rate that they're getting paid, just because of the weird ways that fiat currencies work. But anyway, topic for another day. The fact that you work with them purely in an online space doesn't mean that they're not real people. And I think labels are important, and I hate the label virtual assistant. And I will never talk about Gino as though he is my virtual assistant. Because, and I've spent a lot of time around people that use VA services and talk a lot about having virtual assistants, and I've noticed that there is an unspoken and generally unrecognized racism, basically, that shows up when we think of people working in other countries in our work as virtual. I've noticed that if someone hires an assistant based in Australia, whether they see them in person or not, that person is assumed to be a self-starter who is good at managing their own time and comes with a wealth of knowledge and skills to be put into use. And as a result, when we talk to an assistant who's based in Australia somewhere and we give them a bunch of work, those people are essentially, we share with them the outcomes that we want, and we invite them to design the system and execute the actions that are going to get us to the result that we want. And there's a lot of trust implicit in that relationship. Send exactly the same set of requirements to a person living overseas who we might call a virtual assistant, and suddenly it's assumed that they're not trustworthy, that we can't expect them to manage their own time, that we need these tracking apps that are going to screen cap their screen every 15 seconds to make sure they're not looking at Facebook. It's bullshit. It's absolute crap. They're incredible, talented people. Most of the stuff you see coming out of my LinkedIn feed comes from Gino, because he's amazing. And I've seen too many incredible people based in, generally, if you're an Australian, the Philippines, who have not been afforded the autonomy and the trust that they deserve because they're thought of as not quite a whole person. And it starts with the label, the virtual assistant. They're not virtual, they're real. And they have real families and real aspirations and real talents and real homes and real fears and real everything. There's nothing virtual about them at all. So join me on a quest to remove the phrase virtual assistant from modern nomenclature. It sucks, and I don't like it, and you shouldn't either. See ya.